I used to think I had a motivation problem. Every time I started something new, I felt unstoppable. A new project, a new idea, a new plan for my life. It felt exciting for a few days, sometimes even a few weeks. But then something always happened. The excitement faded, the work got harder, the progress slowed down, and slowly, quietly, I'd walk away from it. My workshop became a graveyard of unfinished things, an eagle sculpture with perfect wings, but no face. A rocking horse built for a neighbor's child, missing one rocker. A beautiful walnut cabinet standing proudly in the corner, with no doors. Every unfinished project felt like evidence against me, not evidence that I was lazy. Honestly, I worked hard, but evidence that I couldn't finish. And that kind of failure hits differently, because after a while you stop trusting yourself. You tell yourself things like, maybe I'm just someone who starts things. Maybe I don't actually have discipline. Maybe talent means nothing if I can't follow through. And the worst part? I started believing it. You probably know this feeling too. Maybe it's not woodworking. Maybe it's the business you were excited about for 2 weeks. The gym routine you promised yourself you'd stick to. The book you started writing. The online course you paid for but never completed. At first, the beginning feels magical. You imagine who you're going to become. But then comes the part nobody talks about. The messy middle. That stretch where the work stops being exciting and starts becoming repetitive. Where progress feels slow, where mistakes suddenly feel personal. That's where most dreams quietly die. And every time I abandoned another project, I told myself the same lie. I'll come back to it later. But later rarely came. Instead, a new idea would show up. A brighter idea, an easier idea. A more exciting idea, and I'd chase it like it was going to save me. That cycle repeated for years. Start strong, lose momentum, disappear, repeat. Eventually, my workshop stopped feeling creative. It felt heavy, like every unfinished project was staring at me saying, "You did it again." Then came the project that finally forced me to face myself. A wealthy family in town hired me to build a handcrafted anniversary chest for their parents' 50th wedding celebration. This wasn't just another commission. This was the opportunity, the kind of project that could define a career. And in the beginning, I was obsessed with it. I worked from sunrise until late into the night. The frame was flawless. The carvings were some of the best work I'd ever done. For the first time in years, I genuinely believed, this is it. This is the project I finally finish. But then it happened again. A small mistake during one of the carvings. Tiny, almost invisible. But once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And suddenly the energy disappeared. The work started feeling heavy. Every session in the workshop felt forced. And then, another idea showed up. A beautiful writing desk made from cherry wood. Fresh, clean, exciting. I told myself I'd work on it just for one day to clear my head. One day became a week, and the anniversary deadline got closer and closer. Until finally, the client's son came to see the finished piece. I still remember the look on his face when he saw the unfinished chest sitting in the corner. Not anger, disappointment. And honestly, that hurt more. He didn't yell, he didn't insult me. He just nodded slowly, turned around, and left. The door closed softly behind him, and standing there in that silent workshop, surrounded by years of unfinished promises, I finally admitted something to myself. I didn't have a creativity problem. I had a consistency problem. A few days later, I went to see Samuel. Around town, Samuel was known as a master craftsman. People talked about his work with almost mythical respect. But what made him different wasn't just his skill. It was that he finished things. Every piece he made carried this feeling of patience and completeness. His workshop felt nothing like mine. Mine felt chaotic. His felt calm. There were tools on the benches, wood shavings on the floor, half-built pieces around the room. But nothing felt abandoned. Everything felt intentional. Samuel was sharpening a blade when I arrived. He didn't even look up when I walked in, and for some reason that made me confess everything. I told him about the unfinished projects, the failed commission, the constant cycle of excitement and quitting. I expected advice, maybe some secret productivity system, maybe motivation tricks. Instead, he stayed quiet. Then he walked me over to a small wooden stool sitting on a shelf. It was simple, plain pine wood, no fancy carving, but it was perfect, solid, balanced, complete. Samuel looked at the stool, then at me, and finally he said, "You think finishing comes from passion. It doesn't." Samuel told me something I've never forgotten. "Passion is good for starting," he said, "but passion leaves when the work becomes difficult." And that hit me hard, because he was right. I loved beginnings. I loved imagining things, planning things, starting things. But I hated the messy middle, the repetitive part, the imperfect part, the boring part. Samuel picked up the stool and ran his hand across the seat. "This wasn't built in one burst of inspiration," he said. "It was built through small decisions repeated over and over." Then he looked directly at me and said, "Finishing is not about motivation. It's about showing up after motivation disappears." That sentence honestly changed my life, because I had spent years waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel inspired, waiting to feel disciplined, waiting to feel certain. Meanwhile, people with less talent than me were quietly building entire lives simply because they kept showing up. Samuel explained something I'd never understood before. Finishing is a skill, not a personality trait. Not something you're born with, a skill. And like any skill, it gets stronger through repetition. And maybe this is exactly where you are right now. Not lazy, not incapable, just stuck in the messy middle of something important. So I want you to do something real. Down in the comments, write the thing you still haven't finished. Maybe it's a business, a fitness goal, a YouTube channel, a book, a room in your house you keep avoiding. No shame, just honesty. Because what Samuel taught next completely changed the way I approach work. And it might change yours too. I expected Samuel to give me some brutal challenge. Instead, he gave me something almost laughably simple. He handed me a small hourglass, and he said, "For the next 30 days, work on one unfinished project for 10 minutes a day." That was it. 10 minutes, not 2 hours, not a full weekend, not some motivational marathon. 10 minutes. Then he added one strange rule. When the 10 minutes ends, stop immediately. Even if I wanted to keep going. Especially if I wanted to keep going. At first, I thought the rule was ridiculous. What could 10 minutes possibly change? But Samuel explained something powerful. Your mind resists big tasks, he said, but 10 minutes feels harmless. Starting becomes easier because your brain no longer sees the work as overwhelming. And then he explained the second part. Stopping early creates tension. Your mind keeps thinking about the unfinished work. It wants closure. It wants to come back tomorrow. Without realizing it, you begin building momentum naturally. But then he said the most important thing of all. This isn't about finishing the project. It's about becoming someone who shows up consistently. That was the real lesson. The project was just training. The real goal was rebuilding trust in myself. When I got home, I searched through my workshop looking for something small enough to try this on. I found an old chisel box buried under scraps of wood. It needed one side glued on and some sanding. That's it. The first week felt stupid. 10 minutes gluing, 10 minutes sanding, 10 minutes adjusting the lid. I kept wanting to ignore the timer and just finish it. But I followed the rule. And around the second week, something strange happened. The resistance started disappearing. The workshop no longer felt intimidating because I wasn't trying to conquer everything anymore. I was just showing up for 10 minutes. That changed everything. And then one evening, after applying the final coat of oil, I looked down at the box in my hands. It was finished. Simple, small, nothing extraordinary. But for the first time in years, I had completed something. And the feeling surprised me. It wasn't excitement. It was peace. Quiet, steady pride. Not because the box mattered, but because I had finally proven to myself that I could follow through, that I could keep a promise to myself. This story isn't really about woodworking, it's about identity. For years, Marcus saw himself as someone with potential who never followed through. And honestly, a lot of people live there. They have ideas, dreams, talent, but deep down, they no longer trust themselves to finish. The 10-minute rule changes that slowly, not through motivation, through evidence. Every day you show up, you cast a vote for a new identity, an identity built on consistency instead of emotion. And eventually, something powerful happens. You stop seeing yourself as a procrastinator. You start seeing yourself as someone who keeps promises. That shift changes everything. Because the world isn't built by people who feel motivated every day. It's built by people who continue when motivation disappears. The truth is, becoming a finisher doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly. 10 minutes at a time. One small promise kept today. Another tomorrow, then another after that. That's how trust is rebuilt. So here's your challenge. Don't choose the biggest goal in your life right now. Choose the smallest unfinished thing that's been bothering you. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Work on it. Then stop. Do it again tomorrow and the next day. Not to become perfect, not to become productive, but to become someone who finishes what they start. If this story spoke to you, subscribe for more videos about discipline, mindset, and building a life you can actually be proud of. And before you leave, go down to the comments and write, "I accept the 10-minute challenge." Because sometimes the smallest commitment becomes the beginning of an entirely new life.